Every day, all day.
This is how we roll.
This is 97.9, the BOX.
Hi, Kim. What's up?
We did it. You did it.
Yes, we did it. Oh my gosh, your background is popping. I kind of have some, what do you call it? Streamers?
Oh.
What are these? Well, you
Behind
have,
me or behind you?
no, behind, well, I don't know, both. What's behind you? Your setup is so amazing. Look at
Girl,
this.
So I'm in this is an art installation that I built at the beginning of the pandemic called the Sequin Sanctuary.
What?
This is where I do my live shows for the Suffers every Saturday night. I saw a lot of performances when this lockdown first started, and you know, a lot of people were just in front of their phones or DJing, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just make my own situation because I miss the club. I miss oh thank you, girl. She said Tina Turner hair. That's all I wanted when I was a child.
Yes. See, I need volume. Exactly. That's why I just said I got first day curls right now. I gotta get my volume on, but I'm getting there.
Oh, I love it. But you know, I honestly, this is stuff that I had over the years just to take on tour, because the Suppers, we're 100%, you know, independent, and we've always been. And so if I wanted something on stage, we had to buy it ourselves, you know. And so I never knew what I was going to do with it. But hey, when the pandemic started, I was like, oh, I got something. So it's filled with a bunch of just stuff that makes me feel like I'm somewhere else. And I also have Luther Vandross here to make sure I stay in tune.
Ooh, okay, I see you.
Yeah.
We gotta see. Can we see your whole quarters?
Oh
Because I've seen it in your live show.
yeah. Sorry, y'all might see some Jazz cigarettes in the mix.
Okay,
So
we want the grand tour.
So this is pretty much a mix of reclaimed sequin outfits that I've worn on the road, a bunch of my boots, the record from the band because they don't get to be here with me, signs that, you know, we get people to tip these to guilt them a little bit more and tip let me see if I can come out a little bit more, but it's like this full on space.
I can't believe you made it yourself. And everything y'all do, man. Cam, we got so much to talk, so much going on, so much
I'm
to
a
talk
Black
about.
woman. I do everything.
Man, so
you're
do you feel like, honestly, like staying independent is something that you are like, that's where your head is like focused on, because control wise and creative wise?
I mean, yes and no, because and the reason I say that is because our first two albums we made with our own money. Our first record we own 100% ourselves. Even though there were 10 people in this band, how y'all gonna make all that? How y'all gonna split that money? 10 people's better than 60 on a major, baby. So
okay,
you know, it's not my fault I know how to do a little bit of math, but that being said, I am not opposed to spending other people's money. I'm not opposed to getting guidance that can only be obtained from a label, and I'm not opposed to getting those relationships. But you know, my birthday is June 7th, the same day as Prince, who Slave on the Face taught me in my childhood to make sure that you know who you're going into bed with when you're doing these deals, when you're going into the studio, when you're going and working with people. And I'm still learning. I continue to learn. I'm a student of the game. But more than anything, you know, I never want to limit myself before the opportunity has even been presented to myself. I don't think that's smart business, but I'm open.
There you go. Thumbs up. Terrence said thumbs up. I feel that. So have you not been able to see the band like this whole quarantine?
No, I saw, actually that's not 1000% true. I saw one of my bandmates. I saw one of my bandmates at the Weed Man on accident, but he got a haircut and I didn't recognize him, and I was like, "Oh my God, what a gift!" Because I missed them so much. And you know, we spend a crazy amount of time together as a unit, and so not being able to tour together on top of not being able to see each other has been almost like this weird empty nest kind of thing. But I, you know, at the same time, I'm like, you know, I'm glad they're getting to be at home. Some of them have young children, and they're really getting an opportunity to see a side that they miss when we're on the road.
So are y'all like, so y'all haven't even been able to like virtually practice?
So we haven't been virtually practicing, but we have been virtually communicating.
Okay, cool.
Which to me is just as powerful. So we are gonna come into a like almost like a super quarantine in July to finish our album.
Awesome.
But we realized that we have so many songs that we actually think it's 2 albums, which is great. So yeah, so we're
Will
gonna
you drop them
finish
both at the
that.
same time?
I don't know what we're gonna do. It depends on how much money we got. If we,
Exactly.
so,
Are y'all still
you know,
looking at the fall, this fall to drop it, or you got to see, you know?
it's going to be next spring for sure. But we are releasing a single in less than 3 weeks called "Take Me to the Good Times," which
Yes.
I'm sure people would love to know what that means in a time of pandemic and just crazy racism. But you know, I believe that there are better times along on the way for all of us. So. Try to stay positive.
Has the time quarantine by yourself? Have you been able to like do more like solo working on your music, but like by yourself too?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been working on myself as just a human being, but quarantine for me, I didn't look at it as a curse. After that unemployment cleared. So, you know, once I had a little bit of financial security to allow me to focus on other stuff. I was like, okay, well, what have I been putting off? Organized my room, got rid of a bunch of stuff, started actually learning these instruments that I've been putting off for a long time. Really just allowing myself to have a better relationship with everything that I claim to love. So be that books, be that art, be that other people's music. That's what I'm doing.
Yes. Okay. So, and I also saw, I saw that you just, you know, your post that you just made. It's a lot going on right now. Can you talk about your last Instagram post that you just put up? Because I think this whole conversation, I know it's a hard time, but it's so important that we, you know, do discuss what's really going on.
Oh yeah, and please don't be fooled, anybody that's watching, by my smile. I'm a very manic person.
Camel fire off on you.
I'm like, I'm a
be ready
person, and I got these cheeks. But the thing is that I think the racism has just gotten to a level to where I'm like, I can't be mad anymore. So I'm gonna just smile because I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. But I made a post earlier today about the first time I was ever called the N-word, and I was in 5th grade, and I talked about not just that, but the first time that I was called it again, which was in 10th grade, down in League City, and all these traumas that I went through, having teachers that didn't really know how to teach a Black person that might have been a little different. I didn't really know how to express that a lot of this was racist until I started sharing it with my parents and really relaying some of the experiences that I was having. And they were like, no, you know, thank God I had parents that were like just woke back then.
And they had your back always.
And ready to defend me. My mama called the news, you know, when some of these teachers were acting up. Oh girl, like it was bad. There was an incident that happened my senior year of high school. I had these 2 choir directors.
What high school?
Clear Creek High School in Lake City, Texas.
Clear Creek.
They don't teach there anymore, and they were great at teaching, I guess, people to be good, but they use trauma and anger and aggression and a lot of demeaning as a part of their technique. And so I thought that was normal. It led to a lot of toxic experiences in my life later on, where I thought,
when did you realize it wasn't normal?
After I got a therapist.
That is so important. Oof.
Yeah. And after I started working with artists that were way more advanced, that were also Black, that had dealt with other similar traumatic experiences, that really had to explain to me the difference between what's normal and what's not okay, and the difference between what is racist and what is almost like an underlying form of racism. Because, you know, sometimes people think, oh, well, they didn't call me the N-word, they're not a racist. It's like, but if they tried to oppress you or hold you back or make you think that you were incapable of achieving something because of the way that you look or the way that you were built, then that's racism. That's what it is. And it took a lot of unlearning of unhealthy behaviors that I got from them to really be able to step into this new season of, you know, just imminent joy, allowing myself to, you know, still perform on Saturdays despite all this craziness. And you know, just persevering. And I'm grateful to the folks that came before me that continue to encourage me despite everything that I went through. And you know, my story that I told today is just a small one, and that's just from school. You know, I think I'm going to keep talking about the traumas because I haven't even gotten into the music industry. You know, the way I tour as a solo artist with my bandmates, I don't have the same touring situation as a lot of these major artists. And so I go into very deep parts of the South sometimes where I see a lot of ugliness and a lot of backwards behavior. And I've had to deal with a lot of gaslighting to where I've had to learn, no, y'all ain't Black. You don't realize that you're the oppressor. But instead of yelling and screaming and using my fists, I asked to speak to the manager. I asked to speak to whoever's signing my check so that we can have a conversation about their lack of training. Because where they have me messed up, my good friend Jazz, is that before I was a musician, I worked in oil and gas. I went through hours and hours of international business sensitivity training. Do you know what it feels like as a Black woman to have to sit through a sensitivity training? But you know what? I'm glad I did because it gave me an added education when I quit my job to do music full time to call this shit out and let them know I can sue you. You are committing an EEOC violation if you can treat the white boys that played here the night before with care and kindness, but when I show up, you can't treat me right. But it took
that's
me
something
calling.
you still experience often, Cam?
Yeah, this was 2 years ago at one of the venues I'm talking about. And just last year, I had an incident at a music festival where a guy was front row wearing a Confederate flag shirt, which is his right, whatever, I don't care. You know, sometimes I prefer when the racists wear t-shirts, letting me know to stay away from them. But his wife, who was sitting next to him after the show, came backstage. There was security. She didn't have a credential on. Security lets her come backstage. Just nobody checks her for anything. Mind you, I got asked what I was doing there when I showed up with my band and gear and trailer. But, you know, wasn't going to knock me. She comes up wearing an Austin City Limits shirt, or Austin City Limits hat, cowboy hat. And we are at this point in Asheville, North Carolina. And she says, "Oh, honey, I loved your show, and I'm sure, and I've seen some of the comments on my hair. Thank y'all so much. This hair is a part of the story." She goes, "Oh my gosh, you sounded so good. I loved your hair." And she takes her cowboy hat. We're outside. I just got off stage. I am so hot, y'all, because this shit is real.
Come on, Cam. Yes.
That I'm pouring water on my own head to prevent myself from overheating as she's telling me what a good job I did. She pours the bottle, or no, I'm pouring water on my head. She starts to put her hat on my hot, wet head. And she says, "Ooh, this hat looks good on you. You should wear this hat." And I said, "Ma'am, I don't want your hat. Please get away from me."
Come on, you don't know where people head now.
This is the first time, right? So she keeps trying to put it on my head as I'm still putting water on myself. I just got off stage again. I'm like, "Ma'am, stop. Because I know I'm in North Carolina. I'm addressing her as ma'am when she's accosting me. No one from security's doing anything. So I fucking lose it. I take the water bottle, I throw it down, and I say, "Bitch, get the fuck away from me." Of course, all the white people do the, you know.
Of course. Now it's a scene.
You know, the like, "Oh my God." I said, "I don't want to hear anybody say shit to me because y'all didn't say shit about her not having a credential. Nobody said anything about her shoving this hat on my head. Nobody said anything when I asked her 3 times. This is now number 4. So don't be looking over here like y'all ain't heard me fucking telling her to stop." And they all just stared at me. And I said, "Can you get the bitch out of here?" I said, "No? Okay, cool. I'ma leave." So then I left.
And that was you're like, that was that on that. But you don't take that shit, Cam, and that's why.
But instead of letting the moment get me, I let the anger lead me straight to the production office. I said, we have a security violation. You are in breach of your contract that requires you to provide sound, lighting, and security. So I need someone to call my manager or to call my agent and explain why I just had to be my own security while also being the victim. And that was the second time in Asheville that had happened. By the way, artists, depending on who you have working for you, I got to learn this after this was the second time this happened. I didn't want to play in North Carolina anymore. I was like, I don't want to go back to Asheville. And my agent was like, well, you know, you're making a lot of money there, which was true. So I was like, what can we do? I said, can I start taxing them? Can I put a fine when they breach this contract? And they said, yeah.
And that's what you did.
I have a condition in my contract. If you breach the contract by being racist, you get to pay a fine.
Well, damn. I mean, I feel like more artists should know about that. More things. More if you're right.
Most artists don't know
I bet they
anything about anything because most artists are concerned about making money and not educating themselves as a business owner. Most artists don't even know that they're business owners, and they treat themselves like they're working for their agents, like they're working for their managers, like they're working for these labels. But it's like, you're the artist, you are the creator, you are the owner, as long as you choose to still be that. The moment you sign off for this shit, then that's when you have to start, can I say this on my Instagram? Can I say this on my Twitter? No, I said these motherfuckers called me a nigger. That's what I said because I'm in charge. That's what it needs to be. But, you know, the reason you're probably not hearing from some of your faves isn't because they're scared. It's probably because they ain't allowed to say shit.
Okay, well, okay, so the latest one I think I saw today was Kendall Jenner. When I saw that she didn't say anything, I personally was not surprised. I didn't really expect Kendall Jenner to say anything. How do you feel about it? Because it's just like,
I'll tell you what I told I have nothing against the Jenners or the Kardashians, but I'll give you the message that I gave to some of the white men in my life, past whatever, that have had romantic encounters with me or with any other women of color. If you can fuck us in private, you need to speak up so that we can stay alive. Like, that's what it is. So I assume maybe someone in her life.
Someone. There's a couple people in her life. But do you feel like also in your life? Because I actually had a friend text me like maybe last week, and she's not Black, and she was like, Jazz, like I just feel so hurt. Like, what can I do? And I'm just like, man, I mean, do everything you can. Like, what's the best advice you can give to someone that's not a person of color on the most progressive thing they can do right now, besides like just posting and stuff like that?
The best advice that I would give them is, before asking a Black person a question on how to fix this right now, Google it. And
she apologized, Cam. She did come back too, like 2 days later. She's like, I'm so sorry I asked you that, by the way. And I'm so nice. I'm just like, you know, like, Kate, like, it's cool.
Now,
like,
that's not to say that we shouldn't have to, because, you know, our grandparents, great grandparents, the generations before them, they didn't want to be out there marching. They didn't want to be out here doing this shit. They just wanted to sit on the bus. They just wanted to love who they wanted to love, you know? And so right now, you know, I'm just trying to stay alive, just like you, just like everybody else. But it's like, until the other races acknowledge the privilege that they have by not being a race that is accepted, you know, it's gonna be a setback. But right now, I really do feel like folks are learning whether they like it or not. And, you know, it feels almost similar to the Me Too movement a couple of years ago, where men finally realized, dang, I gotta ask for permission to touch a woman. I gotta ask for permission.
Times are really changing. Like, oh, thank God.
Well, you know what?
Thank God.
I love it. I love it. It's like, not only do you have to ask for permission to touch women or other human beings, now you have to be kind in the form of just leaving Black people be. Can
Have
you
you ever
believe
felt
it?
like as the only the only black woman in the group, and the only person, like, have you ever felt a responsibility to kind of, like, let them, know, like, even with the
Absolutely.
situation, everything going on now?
Yo.
For
So
real?
many people have asked me that question over the years.
Hmm.
I knew I was in a band with a bunch of people that weren't black when I agreed to join,
Right.
It was something that was on my mind at the beginning, but the Suffers turned 9 years old as a band on Sunday. We didn't get here by not having tough conversations with one another. You don't get to be in a band and not be in a relationship with these people.
Mm.
So to be in a relationship with me as a black woman, you have to acknowledge that my blackness is going to make people treat me differently on top of being a woman. But my blackness is going to hold us back from the most basic of stuff that should be allotted to us because of the work that we're putting forth. But because I'm black, I know I have to work harder. So when you talk about this, I know
Yes.
I built
All
this
by
because
you.
I'm not saved, I'm not signed to no major, and because I know I look like this, and because I know I got some of this, that I have to work harder. That's just what it is. I know what it is. Now with them, to anybody that hasn't seen my band, this is two
Y'all
of them
gotta
aren't in the
know
band
about the
anymore.
Suffers H
You know,
Town.
you
Yay.
know,
Those are the boys.
Nick, most people they always like, they're like, yeah, that white boy on drums. I said, first of all, he's Jewish and Mexican. They're like, but what does he know about black culture? I said, Nick went to Jones High School and was in their
Okay, Nick.
their program. And anybody that knows anything about Jones High School's marching band program, he got a lot of education before he ever got to me. Same with my other bandmates. They went to some of them went to HSPVA, alongside Chris Dave and Robert Glasper. You really think that they made it to me before those conversations were had? And when they did come up with us, the first time it really happened as a band was after Eric Garner happened, because we drove through Ferguson unknowingly, and I had a panic attack in the van because I just didn't feel safe. And
Wow.
we had to have a lot of conversations, and so many strides have happened since then, and it goes both ways. It's not just my issues. I have to understand their issues because I'm not Mexican. My family did, like, their struggles are so different. And in
Right.
certain parts of the country, when we're on, on the northeast, northwest, the white people ain't scared of me. The white people are scared of the brown people in my band, which is hilarious to see. But unless we realize that we're going to go through these things together, we're going to go through these situations together. And if we don't stop going through them together, we don't get to go to the next level together. And that's, again, why I compare it to a relationship, because you can't be in an interracial relationship and pretend like your race doesn't matter unless you're in a bubble. Maybe if you're in Germany or if you're in Amsterdam, but at the same time, while I felt less attacked, my blackness was so prevalent. You know why I knew it was prevalent? People were like, you're just, when you have a black person come up to you after a show in a sea full of white people and say, thank you for coming here. That's how I knew. That's how I had to understand and learn. And it took me a long time to acknowledge and appreciate myself and represent, the black weirdos that might feel a little left out, or like the only person in the room sometimes. But it's like, I understand both sides.
Yeah.
I grew up Third Ward Acres Homes, but graduated in Lake City. I've been all over Houston. I know that there's racism everywhere. However, it's like, how can I do a better job? How can I be a better leader? How can I lead by example? And that's by, letting folks know how much we have to communicate to thrive. But beyond that, it's like, it starts within me. Until I appreciate myself and understand how folks are going to come at me and how my preservation is important, I can't expect other people to get it. They should. It should be easy. But I know the weight that comes with being a Black woman. I know I have to help myself and them too
Other
before I
people,
get to
like, you
take
gotta
a moment
teach
to
and
heal.
explain and let and have patience too.
Oh
especially
yeah.
with people who are close to us, to have those conversations without getting so frustrated to the point of like really like, you know what I mean. So you speaking that truth for sure. All the way from Kenya in the
I
comments. I
saw.
see y'all.
I love that.
Cam, it's so great to talk to you always. Okay, before I let you go, finally, what do you think is like the biggest change? You know, this quarantine in particular, I feel like I've been working a lot on myself and spending more time by myself. So all the way from your very first EP, Bam It's Cam, to where you are now. I know you've been through so much, and I know you learned so much, and you absorb all that, and you take it in, and you speak your truth. What is like one of the biggest things that you have learned about yourself from when you started this journey to music to where you are now?
That the only thing that ever held me back was my own insecurity. Uh, and that
That's
when
real.
I've chosen to quiet it, even when, other people have probably tried to put a mic on it, it's allowed me to thrive so much more. This time last year, we were working on just writing this new record, and we had a lot of things stacked against us, long-term members leaving the band, and just really learning how to adapt to this new wave. In my mind, I'm like, I learned, present members, previous members, it's been such a gift because I've gotten an education from them. They wouldn't have trusted me to be in the band if they didn't know that, I was capable. And knowing that I'm capable has been the thing that has allowed me to keep going, be it working with the Suffers, working with the rappers.
Yes. Can we get you with more of the rappers, Cam? Can we get you and Megan Thee Stallion? We need you and Megan for sure.
I absolutely love Meg, and I would love to work with her. And any female rapper in Houston, I feel like I don't hear about them enough. And I know that folks in the industry's first gaslighting response is usually it's because there's not enough good women out there rapping, or because there's not enough women out there doing it. But as we've seen the last year, they are crushing.
Can name them off, yeah.
Oh yeah, and that to me is a beautiful thing. And if we have that many at the top, what happens? You have twice as many at the bottom, because they now see, dang, Meg's from Houston with a number one, a female rapper from Houston with a number one. Okay, I'm gonna do that, because that's what I knew I was capable of doing when I saw Destiny's Child. When I saw Beyonce branch off and do her own thing, I was like, oh, I might not be able to have abs, but I can do the rest of it.
We can do this anyways. Bootylicious, it don't even matter.
Hey.
And Kim, are you doing another concert this Saturday?
I am doing a concert this Saturday. It's the birthday show. It's the band's anniversary show. Celebration.
Your sound, I want to say too.
In here?
Your sound always sounds so great in your shows too. I was gonna say, what if you and the band, like if y'all did it on Zoom, it wouldn't sound good like that anymore.
It wouldn't, just because any
Zoom is messy like that.
But we have been doing these quarantined performances where we basically have a recording of a version that we're doing, and then we'll record it alone, and then one of the guys edits it back together. But we are gonna have to get creative, because while I love this experience, and these shows by myself have been an interesting journey, like I need my band.
You missed the crew.
Yeah, and so we're just trying to figure out what we need to do, but it looks like just a band quarantine is what we're gonna do to finish this album, to hopefully do some of those things as well. And I'm hoping that while we're working on the record, that we can hopefully sneak in a live stream with the full band, even though we're together.
Please do.
But yeah, we're always trying to figure out ways to make it happen.
Awesome. So guys, don't forget, Saturday night, what time?
8 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Suffers Instagram and the Suffers Facebook.
Okay, wait. Let me comment yours. I didn't. This is Cam's Insta. I hope I spelled everything right. Bam, it's Cam, like this. You see it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yes. And then y'all make sure y'all follow the Suffers too, and the concert Saturday night, because y'all need to be going out. Did you see, this is the last thing I'm gonna say before I let you go. Did you see the reopenings as of today that the governor said in Texas?
I don't know him. You want to hear? You want to hear a funny story about the governor?
Come on with it. Oh,
And
can you
then I'll
sing
let
a little
you-
bit on the way
then
out?
I'll-
Can you sing a little bit on the way out too? The
I'm
fans
gonna
are
tell you
asking.
the governor's story when I see you in private next time. But what'd you say?
I said, somebody said, can you sing a little bit on the way out?
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I will sing you a song that I sang on last week. It's not going to be out anytime soon, but it's on our next record, and it's about exactly what we're dealing with right now. But it's a song about police brutality, and it's a song about police brutality and just combating that, and just learning how to speak out against it. Can't feel safe in my own home. Can't put no hoodie on when it gets cold. A new threat every day. No big wow. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel now. How do we heal from this? How do we heal? They keep on breaking us like we can't feel. We've all been shouting out since Emmett Till. How do we heal from this? How do we heal? I think we are going to heal from this. I think
Thank you
that
so much,
good is
Cam.
going to come from this. Rest in peace, Big Floyd.
Rest in peace, and thank you so much, Cam. Make sure y'all tap in, follow Cam, go to the concert Saturday. I'm gonna see you in person soon, Cam, and I need that governor story.
Yes, shout out to my band that's in here. I see you, John. Bye,
What's up, y'all? Bye. Have a good night, Cam.
Bye, you too.